Okay, now to the main programming functions that I've learned. Basically, it looks a little more complicated than it really is. Once you start to play with it, you'll find that it does get easier, and it's not so complicated after all. Let's just pull up an effect here, one of the built-in ones. Now this is one I use often, the Vibe Slow. And the Vibe Slow I found is a nice effect for things such as the Pink Floyd type effect. Now let's say what I want to do here is change this slightly, because none of the presets have pitch correction built in, and I personally prefer just a little bit of pitch correction to ensure that, especially in a moment like this where my voice isn't as great as I would like it to be due to a cold, that I can work with it. So let's set that first. I simply press down until we get to the pitch correction. Now, here pitch correction, we have type, key, window, rate, and amount. And so what I do, I found that the best setting for the pitch correction is to chromatic scale. And it will simply correct your voice to the closest half step on the chromatic scale. But there are many other options, which I personally haven't played with, because we have, the minor scale, minor harmonies, pentatonic major, pentatonic minor, and basically lots of different types of scales that are available for the pitch correction. As I said, and you can even go in here and set to a specific key. So if you're working in the key of C or E flat, that you can set it to that key. For me, I simply put it on the chromatic scale. Now, as you can see here, this is what gives us the ability to change the different keys. I apologize to you, all of you that use Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, but you can figure it out. Okay, so going over to the window, basically this is how much of that effect are you getting, and the rate of the correction and the amount. How much correction do you want? If you put it all the way up at the 99, you're getting 100% corrected, which I personally don't use, and this is no correction. So I normally use something right around the middle, because I found that if the pitch correction is too high up here in the 99, that it doesn't allow for any vocal fluctuations, and every note is just pulled really close to the true note, and it has a bit of a digitalized sound to it. So to get a more natural sound, I prefer it down in this range here, so that the notes are corrected, but not too much. Okay, moving right along, lead effect is, I just press down here for lead effect. Now this is the main voice. This is what you hear coming from your voice. And here a lot of different possibilities. Here we can turn the person off so that there is no effect on the lead vocal. And then there are different effects. So of course our Borg, and a big, which is a nice effect if you're trying to get that deep bluesy sound. Small to give you a small sound. Some of these things are a little strange. The giant, the elf, the chip, I find that they're just not things I really want to use. The vibes, vibe 1, 2, 3 are good, but you got to be careful. You'll get some strange effects with these. Rock is decent. Elvis, Look, it's a nice effect, but it gives too much of a tremolo effect on the end for me for a lot of the songs. It does give a nice deep sound to the voice, but too much tremolo. And Bob, for those of you that I was thinking, well, who is this Bob guy? Is it Bob Seger, Bobby? But this I found, I think they're talking about Bob Dylan, so it gives kind of a little whiny sound. And then we have the sheep sound, so if you like sheep, well, there you go. Granny, if you want to impress grandma or sound like grandma, well, there you go. Okay, and then with the different lead effects, we can basically modulate the type, the amount, and the speed of the effect. That simply takes a little bit of playing with each one, and a little bit of playing and a lot of time. So my suggestion would be to just use a little bit of effect on here, and keep keep it under control. Harmonies, main part. So pressing down to harmony, and over here, this is the main part. What harmony do you want? It's off. Now, going through them, we have an eighth down, a fifth down, a unison. Okay, more unison. This is a 3 up harmony, a fifth up, a fifth above, and an eighth above. Now here we have an eighth down, an eighth above, a fifth down, a third down for your lower harmonies. Now here's a nice separation harmony of a fifth down and a third up, and so on. You can just see by me scrolling through here that there's just a lot of different variations. This is a complete unison, so for voice thickening, a nice unison on a third. And then going into more complicated, this would be a 3-part harmony of a fifth down, a third down, and a unison voice. And you can see just by scrolling through, there's just so many different possibilities. Now we're getting into 4 voices on the harmony, and just lots and lots of different possibilities. Now the balance is how much do you want of the, I think, what is shown to me is how much of the lower versus the upper harmonies. So for example, in doing some of the work with where I have a fifth down and a third up, let's say I want more of the low harmony, and this is where I go a little bit down, and this pulls out more of the lower harmony, whereas if I go above the 50, it pulls out more of the high harmony. And just different variations. Voice styles, interesting. Voice styles gives just some, we have guys and gals, and a drunk effect. There you go. So if you don't want to drink tonight, you can just turn on the effect and sound like you're drunk. A good way to get rid of ex-girlfriends. And this style. Now, moving down.